Hey YouTube, how's it going? Welcome to the Financial Beard. Today I'm coming to you from my brand new 2022 F350, and in today's episode I'm going to tell you how I saved almost $22,000 on the deal. Here on this channel, I'm dedicated to your financial success. If you like the sound of that, please go ahead and subscribe. After you subscribe, leave a comment that says I subscribe. I'm dedicated to responding to everyone that comments on this video. So a quick outline for this video, I'm gonna go through first and tell you why I'm making this video in the first place. I'm gonna go through all of what the MSRP was, what the invoice was, like what I actually paid for the vehicle. Make sure you stay tuned till the end of the video. I'm gonna go through after all the numbers and tell you how you can have the same deal that I got on your next F350 or any vehicle that you plan to purchase in the future. All right, well, why am I making this video? Well, as my wife can tell you, I do a lot of research. And my neighbor, he was in the market to buy an F350, and I told him what a great deal that I got on mine, and he went ahead and bought his. So I have, actually my neighbor, I have two other friends that got the same deal I did, and so I figured, hey, why not make a video to share not only with my friends, but all of YouTube, to where you can save thousands and thousands of dollars on your next vehicle purchase. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the numbers. I've got my paperwork and the sticker for the truck. I'll go ahead and see if I can get a digital copy and post this up on the screen. But right here, the MSRP for the vehicle that I bought was $80,995. And the MSRP, for those of you who don't know, stands for Manufactured Specified Retail Price. So essentially what that means is the manufacturer says, hey, to all the dealers out there, this is what you should sell my vehicle for. Now, in earlier years, nobody bought at MSRP. It was always like a little bit lower. Right now, we're kind of mid-2022. For the past year or so, things have been going over MSRP, which is just ridiculous. The auto market has honestly been pretty insane. All right, next, let's talk about Invoice. Now, what Invoice is that's allegedly what the car dealership paid for the vehicle. Now, I say allegedly because I'll talk about this later on in the video about holdbacks, but allegedly this is what the dealer actually paid for the vehicle. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, how do I figure out what the invoice is for the vehicle that I'm trying to buy? What you do is just go into Google and type in invoice for Honda Accord. In my case, I typed in invoice for Ford F350. Typically, the best resource that I found is Edmunds, so edmunds.com. And I found out that the invoice for my truck was about 0.94% of the MSRP. So it's about a 6% savings right off the bat that you get from invoice to MSRP. Again, that's not all manufacturers. That's just for my vehicle that I was buying, the F350. For you, you're gonna have to go do your research and figure out what the invoice difference is between MSRP and invoice for your specific vehicle. Now, let's talk about holdbacks. What holdbacks are is a manufacturer will hold back money on every single vehicle until a dealership kind of hits a certain amount of inventory or volume. So holdbacks for Ford, again, you're gonna have to research on your own, but for Ford, it's typically about 2 to 4%. And again, this kind of varies between how much volume the actual dealer does. So if you're in a big city with a high volume dealer, typically you can count on 4%. If you're in a rural area where they don't do a lot of volume, you can count on about 2%. Again, this is just for Ford vehicles. You're gonna have to go find out what the holdback is for the vehicle that you're wanting to purchase. All right, let's talk about another way a dealer actually makes money off of you, and that's with financing. Typically, they'll make about 2% of whatever you financed as a kickback from the bank or the credit union. And on my deal, it was about $1,831. All right, and the last kind of category that the dealer's gonna just scrape money from you is called dealer add-ons. For my specific dealer, again, this is pretty ridiculous. They have this thing called like theft patrol. It was $1,000 that they said was mandatory that you have to have on the vehicle or they won't sell you it. They also have a mandatory like oil and extended warranty package that was $1,200, and then everyone has a dealer fee of whatever it is. For my specific dealer, it was like $300. So make sure you say no to all of those add-ons, because honestly, you're just padding the pockets of the dealer. You may get pushback at first, but again, just say no to those things. And real fast, another way, again, this isn't in every deal, but in my case, I did have a trade-in. Another way that they make a bunch of money is they lowball you pretty significantly on your trade-in. And for me, I mean, my truck, it NADA'd about $50,000. They were trying to give me on trade about $39,000. So that's a big difference. I actually ended up selling the vehicle private party for $46,500. I sold it in 3 days, so I probably should have raised the price a little bit, but I was getting kind of worried to kind of match selling the vehicle and getting my new vehicle at the same time. So what I did is, it's called an in and out, and I can basically sell it for retail on my own, and then I do an in and out with a dealer so I can get tax savings on my new vehicle. So it's the best of both worlds. So I'm basically getting trade-in value at what retail would be. All right, so after going through all these numbers, I thought it would be pretty fun to kind of go through and see how much I would have paid for the vehicle if I would have just went in there as some Joe Schmo, kind of not knowing much and just saying yes. So I kind of have two categories here, or two columns that I'll put up on the screen. This is basically saying, yes, I accept everything. And then the financial beard column is no, like, hey, I know what Invoice is. I know what holdbacks are. You know, it's fine. You can make a little bit of money, but I don't want you to make thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So first, the price of the truck. So my specific dealer, I don't know why they did this, but they actually listed my vehicle. I actually ended up ordering it. It took a while to get it to order. It took about 9 months. But as soon as it was shipped, I actually noticed that they actually listed my vehicle on their website, which I'm glad they did, because that just kind of showed you like what an awesome deal I actually got from someone that just walked in there and just paid whatever pricing that they had. So right off the bat, the truck price that they had was $84,635. What I ended up paying for the vehicle was actually a little bit less than Invoice, again, because I knew that they had some holdback money there. So I ended up paying $74,101. Now we have a dealer fee that they were trying to charge for $299. I didn't pay that. They had this Theft Patrol add-on thing for $1,000. I didn't pay for that. They had this warranty add-on that gave you warranty, oil change, blah, 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 $1,200. I said, nope, I don't want that. They were trying to charge me $1,000 to do the in and out. Next column I have here is the trade-in versus private sale. So this is basically me accepting their $39,000 trade-in versus me selling it for $46,500. So that's $7,500 right there that I ended up getting just by saying no and listing it for 3 days and selling it. So probably the quickest $7,500 I've ever made. And then I have the tax trade difference. So I was already going to get the tax difference on the $39,000, but what I did is I just took the $7,500 because I wouldn't have gotten that anyways if I would have traded it in. And because I did the in and out, I ended up saving that much more. So the difference on the in and out tax was another $543.75. So the grand total, if I would have went into the dealer and just said yes, 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 yes to everything, I would have at the end of the day paid $96,177.75. Now, what I ended up paying grand total was $74,101. That's it. I said $74,101, no add-ons, nothing. Again, it wasn't that easy. Stay tuned. Later in the video, I'll tell you how you can do the same thing that I did. So the difference is kind of astonishing. I ended up saving $22,076.75, like over $22,000, just by being able to say no and say no, like I know you can do better. So right there, like that just kind of like wow, like I'm like saying that, and I know I did research and it's here, but I'm just like $22,000. Like, can you imagine if you put that like in the stock market or you invested it, like that in 4 or 5 years could like pay for another truck just in the savings. So that's pretty crazy right there. All right, now we're at the point in the video where it's like, okay, how can I do this for myself? You know what I mean? If you're like me, you hate going to the car dealership, right? You just feel like you're being lied to and they're just trying to squeeze as much money out of you. So the best thing you can do is just go to the car dealership being prepared. And again, be prepared by knowing how much money there is to work with. If I would have went there and said, hey, for this $80,000 truck, I'm only going to pay $30,000, well, that would be ridiculous because they would be losing money. So first, what I wanted to do is figure out how much money there was to work in the deal. And astonishingly, I found out that there was quite a bit of money to work with. Now let's just talk about just the truck alone. Let's leave the trade-in out because obviously a trade, not all deals are going to have that. So what I wanted to do is I first went to Edmunds. I figured out the math. I took the invoice price. I divided it by the MSRP, and that gave me the percentage of what the invoice versus MSRP is. So then what I did is I went on Ford.com. I built the exact truck that I wanted. Now again, too, 4 or 5 years ago, I went on the lot and I got convinced to buy this truck that I didn't want. It wasn't the color, it wasn't whatever, and I overpaid for it. In 2022, I decided not to do that, and I was like, look, I'm gonna go get the exact truck I want. I wanted the bench seat, I wanted it black, I wanted the leather interior, I wanted a heated steering wheel, I wanted all of these things, and I didn't want to overpay. So what I did is I figured out like what the invoice was for my truck before the dealer actually built it and got the invoice. So again, for my truck, I went on to Edmunds.com and found out that it was 6% is typically what the invoice is. And the holdback, again, too, I went with 4% because I have a pretty high volume dealer. I knew that their holdback was about 4%. So right there's about 10%. So off the bat, I knew without any of the financial savings that they had or any add-ons, they had about 10% of the MSRP to work with. So what I did is I was like, you know what? I understand that they need to make money. That's fine. You can make $1,000 off of me or $2,000, but making $22,000, like, no. So I went and did my research and found out that, okay, there's a good chance that I can get about 9.5% off MSRP. Again, that's with invoice and with holdback savings. So that still left about $1,200 in the deal for the dealership to make money. And I knew that too. So what I ended up doing is I went right in there, and what you need to know is like dealerships are just set up really stupidly. They have like the frontline people that meet and greet and take you to the test drive, and then they go back to their boss or whatever, the guy behind the counter, to kind of get the numbers. That's all set up on purpose, right? They kind of keep the frontline people in the dark. What you need to do is you need to come prepared. So come prepared knowing how much there is willing to work, how much you're willing to give the dealership. I was willing to give the dealership $1,200. I have no problem doing that. You know, you've got overhead, you know, you've got all this other stuff, but I'm not paying all of your add-ons. I'm not paying any of this. So what you have to do is you got to forget the frontline people, right? So get all your information there, go straight to the GM, right? Figure out who your GM is. You can do a little bit of research, but go in there and you'll may have an office assistant or a front desk person saying, oh, how can we help you? Say, hey, I'm here to see the GM. And if they say, oh, they're not there, okay, perfect. Like when can I come back? When are they going to be here? So go in there, talk to the GM, say, hey, look, I don't want to waste your time. I know what the invoice is on my truck is. I know what your holdback is, you know. Again, I'm not asking you to lose money on the deal. All I'm asking for is just a fair deal. So in my deal, it was $74,101. Again, that was, if you do the math, it was 8.5% off MSRP, which is quite a bit. I mean, we're talking, it was like, what, $7,000, $8,000? So it's quite a bit. And in my case, I was given the green light. Hey, no big deal. Put my deposit down, and I ordered my truck. All right, so that was my story of buying my F350. Let me know in the comments, like, did you end up paying MSRP for your vehicle? Did they tell you that there's no way you can go above it? Did they tell you that they're losing money? Were you able to get more than I did off of MSRP? You know, were you able to get 4% off of or 6% off of invoice? Let me know in the comments. Again, please like this video if you thought it was valuable. And if you want to see more, and please subscribe to the channel. And thanks. We'll see you next time.